Hey everyone, and thanks so much for hopping on today to join this session. I'll be your quick host for this session, and before we dive into the good stuff, I've got a couple of housekeeping items to cover. First up, please take a second to give the Code of Conduct a quick read, as we want this to remain a respectful learning space for everyone involved. The chat is open and highly encouraged, but please keep all comments professional and strictly on topic throughout the presentation. We'll be dropping useful links and resources into the chat as we go, and we are actively watching for your questions to ensure everything you need is covered. Just a quick recording note. We are capturing this entire session so you'll be able to watch it back on demand later if you need a refresher. Cool! With all that taken care of, I'll now happily hand things over to our speakers, Sep and Mahindra, who are joining us today. They are diving into a really practical topic, building AI-powered approval workflows using intelligent multi-agent orchestration. This is genuinely one of those sessions that people have been requesting, so thank you all again for joining us for this deep dive. Hey everyone, thanks so much for that introduction. I can already see the fantastic energy building in the chat, which is great. I also wanted to offer a quick small correction on my intro. I'm a 12-time Microsoft MVP and an 8-time C5 Corner MVP, so I have spent quite a bit of time in that ecosystem. Anyway, let's jump right into the meat of the presentation and cover the necessary ground. Today we'll cover the why and how of approvals, what actually breaks in manual processes, how AI can step in to help, and then we'll get into practical tools and real-world demos. The core goal is showing you not just what a single AI assistant can accomplish, but how multiple specialized agents can truly work together when intelligently orchestrated to automate approvals end-to-end. So, let's start simple by asking, why do we even need approvals at all in modern business operations? Every business has internal thresholds, things like financial limits, production caps, or specific inventory rules that govern decisions. When you need to exceed those established limits, you typically need formal sign-off from a manager or a department vice president. In older, old-school setups, that usually meant dealing with endless paper documents, lengthy email chains, or someone manually repeating a request across a chat platform. That manual system works fine until it doesn't. Documents get misplaced, people genuinely forget their action items, approvals drag on forever, and ultimately, the entire business process stalls. Every one of those manual handoffs introduces latency, increases the chance of human errors, and ultimately just wastes valuable organizational time. Now imagine replacing those brittle, unreliable manual handoffs with an automated, context-aware approval pipeline that just flows. That seamless, efficient system is precisely what we are building toward with this multi-agent approach. With AI agents, you can trigger a workflow automatically the moment the correct business event happens, like a form submission or an incoming email request. The agent can then instantly fetch all the necessary context from your originating systems, like your ERP or CRM, to inform the decision maker. Crucially, the agent can even drive the final approval action itself, leading to a massive payoff in speed, fewer mistakes, and much higher overall productivity. Let's talk tooling for a second, focusing on the technology we'll use in our demos. We are leveraging Microsoft tooling as the backbone, think Teams, SharePoint, and Power Automate, because that is what many enterprises already run their business on. However, the core concept of orchestration is completely stack agnostic and works no matter your existing platform. One of the key platforms we will lean on heavily is Copilot Studio to actually build these individual agents because it is low-code and very drag-and-drop friendly. This allows you to wire agents directly to data sources and complex workflows without needing to write a massive amount of deep programming code. But don't worry if your company isn't exclusively tied to that ecosystem, because these powerful patterns are absolutely portable to other environments. So, what exactly is an agent in this specific context? Picture a digital assistant trained thoroughly on a dedicated knowledge base of documents. When a user asks a question, that chat agent can immediately answer based purely on its trained internal knowledge. If it cannot find a confident answer, the system is designed to route that conversation to a different specialized agent or escalate it directly to a human. That concept of specialization is critical. One agent handles invoices and purchase order details, another manages travel expense rules, and a third passes incoming complex PDFs. Multi-agent orchestration, then, is the central conductor deciding precisely which specialized agent should act on any given request received. Think of it exactly like a talented team at work. You wouldn't ask your legal expert to start handling complex procurement tasks. The orchestration layer acts as the virtual manager, routing the task to the correct subject matter agent, gathering all the outputs, and returning one coherent combined response. Now for a quick preview of our live demo cases, so you know exactly what to expect in a few minutes. Case 1 involves a standard Microsoft Forms submission leading to a SharePoint approval flow for new vendor registration. Case 2 focuses on passing unstructured purchase order data from both incoming emails and attached PDFs, and routing that for PO approval. The final case is a travel allowance assistant that reads complex policy documents, calculates entitlements, and kicks off an approval if the amount exceeds a threshold. We will show exactly how each trigger spins up the correct agent, how agents call backend flows, and how the orchestrator keeps the whole process perfectly coherent. I'll take over now to walk you through the live configuration side of building the orchestrator agent. When you build the main orchestrator agent, the very first things you configure are its name and the crucial orchestration switch to activate its multi-agent capability. Next, you must write clear instructions for the orchestrator itself, telling it which child agent to invoke based on the input received. This instruction text is absolutely critical because the underlying language model uses it to map the user's unstructured input to the correct specialized child agent. You also need to attach all relevant knowledge sources, which can include web pages, SharePoint sites, or external databases that the agents might need to reference. The tools are just as vital, defining things like the ability to read a PDF, call an external approval flow, or send out a confirmation email. The triggers that initiate the process matter a great deal, allowing an agent to kick off from an incoming Teams chat, a form submission, or a new email arrival. To highlight the live flow, I submitted that vendor registration via Forms, and the main agent instantly detected it and called the vendor approval subagent. That subagent then successfully ran a workflow to validate the GST number and insert the new record directly into the backend SharePoint list. You could actually see the SharePoint list get the new row added almost instantly as the process completed on the backend. Next, I emailed in a purchase order presented as a standard PDF document. The system extracted the critical PO data using an AI extraction tool. The main agent correctly classified it as a PO case and called the dedicated PO agent. That specialized agent then immediately triggered an internal approval flow directly to the relevant finance approver based on the order value. Within seconds, the designated approver receives an email or a Teams notification that contains all the necessary context attached right there. For the last demo, a user asked a chat query about the company's specific travel policy. We had uploaded the entire massive policy document into that specific travel agent's dedicated knowledge base for reference. The main orchestrator correctly routed the question to the travel agent, which pulled the relevant lines from the document and calculated the exact allowances permitted. It then replied directly in the chat with a precise answer and could have easily initiated an approval for exceeding a personal limit too. A practical tip for when you start building these. Triggers often need a little pre-processing within a flow tool to assemble a clean payload for the Copilot agent. For instance, form responses sometimes need to be carefully concatenated into a single clean string variable before being passed accurately to the agent. Similarly, email attachments should be extracted and processed first, with key fields composed into the specific payload structure the agent expects to receive. When creating child agents, you have the choice between lightweight ones that only exist inside a parent or independent agents reusable across many different orchestrators. If you plan to reuse specific logic across multiple departments or processes, always build those components as independent, reusable agents. Now let's address a couple of the big questions we always get, starting with hallucinations and the critical concept of grounding. In a single agent scenario, grounding is important, but in a multi-agent system where you collect decisions from many sources, the risk of error multiplies significantly. Grounding helps by forcing every single agent to cite or check its authoritative sources, like ERP or SharePoint, before it asserts any fact as true. Practically, this means tightly scoping knowledge bases, using retrieval-augmented generation so the model answers only from retrieved docs and validating outputs with rule-based checks. If an agent's output lacks a verifiable source reference, the orchestrator should be instructed to fail that request gracefully or escalate it to a human reviewer. Another major question is around security and the risks associated with data leakage across these connected services. If your orchestrator is not meticulously designed, you could accidentally surface sensitive internal data to an unauthorized person within the organization. That is why implementing strict role-based access and per-connector authorization are non-negotiable prerequisites for any production system. Use service principles, restrict what each agent's knowledge base can see, and avoid exposing vast, broad datasets to a single, shared agent. For highly sensitive cross-team datasets, you should seriously consider isolated storage environments and explicit consent steps before revealing any information. Also remember to always watch your document sizes and how you index them, as many connectors have inherent limits on what they will ingest and expose. Before we wrap up, here is one practical highlight for creators and product teams who record demos like this one. When you have a long, dense session, you need to turn that into snackable, high-impact content for all your social media channels. That is where tools that automate the heavy lifting of video clipping and publishing become an absolute game changer for your marketing. These tools automatically find the most viral moments, auto-edit ready-to-post clips, schedule them according to your cadence, and give you one unified content calendar. You can export this whole session, let the AI pick the best bite-sized moments, like the grounding explanation or a key demo step, and auto-schedule them everywhere. It's a huge time saver compared to the manual clipping process or hiring expensive external agency work to achieve the same reach. All right, let's quickly wrap up with a recap. Approvals are common and often painfully slow due to necessary manual steps. AI agents allow you to automate these exact workflows, and multi-agent orchestration builds modular, specialist-driven systems that mimic real teams. Remember to be pragmatic about grounding and security in your designs, and always implement the right pre-processing in your triggers. And if you are producing any content about these new capabilities, consider automating the clip creation to ensure those key learnings reach the widest possible audience. Thank you so much to Sep and Mahindra for walking us through the architecture and the detailed live demos today. If you want to dive deeper, they have shared links with templates and example flows right there in the chat for you to explore. And of course, if you missed any part of this, the full recording will be made available for on-demand viewing shortly. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. Please ask any last-minute questions in the chat, and we will see you all at the next session. Thanks, everyone, for your time and engagement. And if you need any follow-up help with agent design or sample flows, please ping us directly, and we will gladly share what we can. Bye for now, everyone.